Sunday afternoon affair at the Gateway Center Arena in College Park as the Atlanta Dream play host to the Washington Mystics. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Angel Gray alongside LaChina Robinson. And LaChina, speaking about the Dream, at this point, they're just trying to get back on track. They've lost the last 4 games. However, Coach Peterson, as well as a few players, said it's about building chemistry as well as getting acclimated to one another. One of those players that seems like she's done just that is Cheyenne Parker, who has scored in double figures 2 of her last 3 games. Yeah, Cheyenne Parker's coming off of her best game of the season with 17 points. And keeping in mind, she's still getting comfortable. She missed the beginning of the season due to COVID-19 protocol, but with her size, she can stretch the floor. She's a great finisher around the rim. She has a lot of toughness. With those 17 points, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. She just adds another dimension of offense for the Atlanta Dream. They are so excited to have her. They will need her to be on top of her game to provide more consistent offense here today. Well, LaChina, we can't talk Dream basketball without talking their backcourt as well. Courtney Williams as well as Tiffany Hayes. And we'll start with Courtney Williams, who notched her 3rd double-double of the season. And Tiffany Hayes has just been absolutely phenomenal, scoring her best average of her career. Yeah, in the absence of Kennedy Carter, you could argue both of these players have had to do so much more. Courtney Williams is actually leading the WNBA in minutes per game. She leads this team in rebounding and assists, while Tiffany Hayes leads in the scoring piece. And they got off to a blazing start in that second matchup against Seattle. However, scoring in the second half did slow down. They'll have to continue to be patient, find good shots, keep their energy on the defensive end, which is very important. But we know the Dream success begins and ends with that backcourt. Absolutely. We'll see if they can get it done tonight. Well, in China, they welcome in the Mystics. They won the last 2 games, and actually in scoring, they're 4th in the league. So they're getting things done behind Tina Charles as well as Ariel Atkins. Yeah, Tina Charles is the league's leading scorer and is having a fantastic season in her first year in Washington. I mean, this is a player that can score from anywhere on the court. She's got a lot of confidence in that 3-point shot. One of the best rebounders in the league as well. You see the numbers, 25 points per game. And then Ariel Atkins has had to grow up a lot over the last couple of seasons with the roster changes for the Washington Mystics. Keeping in mind they are still without Elena Deladon, but wow, Ariel Atkins is having an all-star year, scoring the ball. She's one of the best defenders in the league. She'll be tough to defend tonight. Well, the Dream looking to get back on track and take down the Mystics. Stick around. We got game action coming up next. Tonight's presentation of Atlanta Dream basketball is brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Tina.
Can you give us the few keys to beating Washington today?
You got to control Tina. I mean, it's not rocket science. She's leading the league in scoring, and the amazing thing is she's leading the league in usage rate. Okay, that statistic is almost always a statistic that a high volume, ball-dominant perimeter player, right? Like Angel, okay, who's a great player, fabulous, Hall of Fame player. Angel led the league in usage rate some, a Gumbawale, right? Maybe a Kennedy, right? Somebody that has the ball in their hands a lot. Tina Charles is a post, and she's leading the league in usage rate, which means they're doing a great job of utilizing her, and so we've got to control her. We can't let Atkins take standing threes, and then we've got to be in flow on offense, and we've got to create the kind of shots we want, and we've got to knock them down.
Knocking down shots would be something that the Atlanta Dream look to do, especially coming off of the back-to-back loss against Seattle, turning things around before they hit on the road. Let's get into the starting lineups that are presented by the Georgia Lottery. And both teams gearing up for this afternoon affair here in College Park at the Atlanta Dream's new arena, the Gateway Center Arena. And we'll start with the Mystics starting lineups. They have Ariel Atkins, Natasha Cloud, Shavonte Zealous, who has her 4th start of the season with the Mystics, Maisha Hines-Allen, and Tina Charles, who is actually leading the league in scoring at this point. Pretty phenomenal start for her. And on the other side for the Atlanta Dream, the starters look like this, a lot like the previous games. Odyssey Sims, Courtney Williams, Tiffany Hayes, Cheyenne Parker for her third start with this team, and Elizabeth Williams. And I am Angel Gray alongside LaChina Robinson, and we've mentioned the different things that we're looking for both teams. We'll start with Mike Tebow, who is the winningest coach in the WNBA and has been absolutely phenomenal in playoffs as well. He's only missed one playoffs during his tenure and is looking for his team to continue on their win streak. Already has 2 of the previous games. And on the other side is interim head coach Mike Peterson, who, as you heard earlier, is just telling his team to stay poised, stay disciplined in their defense, but more than anything, because he did like what he saw in the last game against Seattle from their output in the second half defensively, but more than anything, he wants them to make shots, get settled into their offense and execute. We'll see how they had the one day to prepare in the meantime before they take the floor today against the Mystics. I'm Angel Gray alongside LaChina Robinson, and our officials today, crew chief Roy Goldbane, Angelica Sefferin, and Blanca Burns will have the game today as the hugging and all the pleasantries are going on at half court before things get pretty serious for this game. The Dream in their Explorer jerseys, Mystics in their Heroine jerseys. Love to see both, as Nike did an incredible job delivering on the nice jerseys for this season for the WNBA. And LaChina, right out of the gate, the Atlanta Dream get the ball, and what are you looking for from their offense?
Well, some patience. You know, I thought the other night against Seattle, Atlanta just didn't get enough ball reversal. Now we've already touched 2 sides of the floor, which is a good sign. The more the ball moves, the more Washington's defense has to work.
And the scrappy play already from the Mystics. That's a jump ball with Courtney Williams and Ariel Atkins. I feel like we'll see a lot of that for today's matchup. They'll head to half court for the jump ball. So it's almost like we're getting another start, but actually we have 5 seconds on the shot clock for the Atlanta Dream. So Courtney Williams' vert is pretty impressive. We'll see if Ariel Atkins can challenge that quite a bit at half court. She doesn't even try. Tips it out to Elizabeth Williams. And it will stay with the Atlanta Dream. Natasha Cloud questioning if that was the right call, but it seems like they're going to talk it over quite a bit.
Heads up play there by Elizabeth Williams to get the ball to go off of Natasha Cloud.
So not much dispute there. Courtney Williams with the ball on the sideline. 5 on the shot clock to be aware of. Odyssey Sims at the top of the key. Cheyenne Parker. And that one doesn't go, but that is a shot that Coach Peterson wants her to take.
And it was a rush shot. You know, I'm not sure if Odyssey knew how much time was left, but they didn't get into that action quickly enough.
Ariel Atkins with the curl right to the basket, doesn't get it to go, and the Atlanta Dream finished the drill with a nice defensive rebound. Elizabeth Williams to Courtney Williams. Draws iron, and we're still sitting at zeros with a minute off the clock.
The Mystics really sagging in on their defense. The way Atlanta has shot the 3 so poorly the last couple games, they're going to challenge them to hit some outside shots and instead choose to clog up the driving lanes.
Atlanta only shooting 32% from outside. Wanting to see that improve. We'll look at our keys to the game, which are presented by Scana Energy. And thanks for these keys. LaChina, Washington box out. That sounds pretty simple. And Atlanta reversed the ball. We've already seen that earlier in their first possession. We'll see if they can continue in execution in that department as the Mystics will take it out on the sideline. Once again, the shot clock is under 10.
Well, and that box out for Washington is because Atlanta is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. Number 1 in offensive rebounds and 3rd in offensive rebound percentage.
Courtney Williams pushing the pace in transition, something she said she wanted to do better, especially coming from the other game. But Tiffany Hayes, shot just goes over the backboard, and the Mystics will get on the sideline. But Courtney Williams was very impressive just with her post-game interview, talking about how she wanted to get off to a good start. We saw that, but then you saw different looks coming at her for the opponents, understanding she wants the ball in her hands. We'll see how she can get her team acclimated today. And Tina Charles still getting into a rhythm with the travel at the top of the key.
Yeah, just kind of sloppy for both teams to start execution-wise. But as you talk about Courtney Williams and her pushing the pace, last season she was thrusted in the point guard spot when Kennedy Carter got hurt, and she didn't want any of it. But if you don't tell her she's at the point guard spot, now she's leading the team in assists. So she can still deliver despite not maybe calling it the point guard.
Oh, yeah, she's going to find a way to get everyone involved. She's done it in nice fashion as well. Turnover for the Dream, block at the rim, and Maisha Hines-Allen finally gets the Mystics on the board.
Hines-Allen is big in size, but is light on her feet as the smallest player on the court. Very nimble, very mobile, big body, strong post.
Atlanta 0-4 start from the field, looking for the bottom of the bucket in this possession. Cheyenne Parker going against Tina Charles, and a little bit too much at the top of the key for the turnover. Natasha Cloud skip past the Ariel Atkins in the corner, sizes it up, drains the three, something she's very good at.
Atkins 7th in the WNBA, shooting it at 45% from long range. A lot of confidence in that three right now.
In this Mystics team, too, you got to keep your eye out on them from the 3-2. They've hit 16 in a game. That's the most in the WNBA for this season, as there is a jump ball with Cheyenne Parker and Natasha Cloud.
Tiffany Hayes has missed a couple of threes. I like to see Hayes put the ball on the deck and establish her drive early, get the defense on their heels. I think she can get that three at any time, and she's shooting it better than she has in her career. But coming off of the last couple games, might want to get to the rack.
6'4" Cheyenne Parker tips it back to Courtney Williams. Parker hesitating at the top of the key. A lot of congestion in the paint, nothing there. And Ariel Atkins with the steal, bounce pass, and dish off to Javante Zealous. Picks up the foul against Courtney Williams. That's her first. This is the first trip to the free throw line for the Mystics.
Well, the last couple possessions for Atlanta, Cheyenne Parker has popped on the ball screen action. She needs to cut to the rim. I mean, it is wide open on that backside. She's got to make a quick rim cut.
Javante Zealous at the line for the Mystics, and it's her first year with the Mystics. But speaking with Mike Thibault, he said, I love what she brings to this team, the leadership, understanding everything she learned as a champ with Indiana as well. And that's just the type of player you have with him. Elena Deladon out right now, Emma Miesemann out right now as well, but looking for that gelling from the Mystics.
Coach Thibault said that he likes her physicality on defense, and that's why she's starting. She's really helped them on the defensive end of the floor, a place where they're still shaping up.
Nice ball movement for the Dream, but still can't find it from the outside with the miss from Odyssey Sims. Outside, Courtney Williams still struggling from mid-range. So they're executing the way you want them to, LaChina, but right now the Dream are 0 for 7 from the field, have yet to get on the board as there's a foul underneath.
Yeah, Atlanta has kind of fallen in love with the jump shot. Again, that's why we talked about ball rotation early. You know, they've got to dribble, penetrate, kick out, move players, move the ball, and try to get higher percentage looks around the rim.
Nice defense on Tina Charles by Elizabeth Williams underneath. A crossover by Odyssey Sims, pushing the pace. Dishes off underneath, and you would almost want Elizabeth Williams to shoot that shot or find something different. That's a turnover for Atlanta. Skip pass by Natasha Cloud. Atkins all the way. And once again, another turnover for the Mystics. Tiffany Hayes going against her former player with UConn and Tina Charles. And Tiffany Hayes doing, I think she heard you, LaChina, getting to the basket, knowing that's where she gets her game started.
Well, and Tina Charles, there's no way on the perimeter she can keep up with Tiffany Hayes. And even with another body coming over and Maisha Hines-Allen, Tiffany Hayes showing a lot of toughness, taking the contact and finishing on that strong side for her, which is her left side.
That foul is going to go against Maisha Hines-Allen. And it was very interesting to see, you know, Tiffany, or Tina Charles rather, speaking with her after, like, I know exactly what she's trying to get to, stay put. With their time at UConn together, we saw them hugging one another before the game as well.
You know what Tiffany Hayes is going to do, but that doesn't mean you can stop it.
Valid point. We've seen it done, or tried to be done, time and time again. Tina Charles brings the double team, something that She definitely is acquiring because she's leading the league in scoring. Some of her best numbers in this season after opting out last year for medical reasons. Tiana Hawkins in the quarter turns it down. Monique Billings mid-range and grazes the front of the rim. Tina Charles once again getting the double from underneath. And they'll go right back to her. Monique Billings guarding one-on-one, and that's what happens on the baseline.
Well, and Tina pulled out her defender too far for the double team to come. Very smart move, veteran savvy move. If she's in the paint, the double team can make its way over, but she was too far out. Billings, as always, great activity on the old glass.
Something she said she wants to do more of. She's challenging herself to be more aggressive at the glass. That's a good start for Monique Billings.
And that, again, was one of our keys to the game for Washington, is boxing out this active Atlanta Dream front court on the backboard.
A lot of contact underneath as there's a miss inside by Maisha Hines-Allen. So the foul is on the floor, but we will take a break with the team as well. We'll have the game right after this. Welcome back. Well, the Washington Mystics started off 7-0. They have the 4-point lead over Atlanta right now. Dream looking to get back on track, but let's get into the injury report. Presented by Emory Healthcare. Sad Dream fans on the sideline. You see shot Kennedy Carter with the hyperextended right elbow. We're hoping to see her back on the floor soon. Elena Deladon out, as well as Emma Miesemann as well for the Mystics. But Kennedy Carter, you're looking at what she provides for this team with China, just the different aspects of being a playmaker. They're hoping to get her back sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, this team is definitely different without Kennedy Carter on the floor because of the pressure she can put on your defense in the open court, how well she creates for others. She's really starting to understand that aspect of the game. And I mean, when you think about the style of the Atlanta Dream, Kennedy Carter is just perfect for it. I mean, her electrifying play, her energy on both ends, and you know, she's starting to understand the point guard responsibilities a little more as well.
And we're a little over halfway in the first half, and Courtney Williams scores her first bucket. She's only the second starter to score in this first quarter. Shavonte Zealous.
Really good help at the nail there by Odyssey Sims.
Tina Charles from the three. They're going to count that one, and she looks at the crowd. No one's going to say much to her.
Yeah, that was kind of nasty.
So Tina Charles, 5 points so far, 2 for 4 from the field as Odyssey Sims. Got to be happy that she's seeing that one fall, and hopefully that timeout was good for Atlanta.
Yeah, Sims has really struggled from the field, so that's got to be a confidence boost for her to get that to go down. Tina Charles right here off of the bounce, loses Billings. And then, you know, taunts the Atlanta crowd just a little bit.
Just a tad.
That's what New Yorkers do, though, you know?
We've seen it. My goodness. I mean, but it was just a simple crossover between the legs with the three. She's got it. Former MVP in 2012 as well, as she takes another shot from the top of the key.
I mean, the work that she does with her upper body to get shots off is where she loses her defender. I mean, she's so strong, and by the time she fakes you out a couple times, the bucket's already in.
And Tiana Hawkins lets it fly, but can't knock it down as she's going against her former team in the Washington Mystics for the first time this season. The matchup with Hawkins as well as Monique Billings on Tina Charles. 10 on the shot clock. Skip pass to Natasha Cloud. Charles left alone on the three, and that time she doesn't make him pay, but it's close to a rebound for the Mystics, and Odyssey Sims pushes the pace for Atlanta. Tiffany Hayes, raindrop three is good.
So she hits the bucket, gets to the free throw line, and then that three-point shot comes back around, and she's in rhythm. Gets it to go.
Atlanta moving the ball pretty well, and before this shot, it was a 2-point game, so they're bringing things back, but Jillian Aileen with the bucket on the other eye, or on the other end. Plaisant, excuse me, for the Mystics.
They've got Tina Charles at the head of that defense, looking to discourage Tiffany Hayes.
So we got some sub. Tiffany Hayes goes to the bench. Ari McDonald comes in for Courtney Williams. And Shakina Strickland comes in for Atlanta as well. Still looking to get into a rhythm. She's had one game where coming off the bench, scoring 9 points in 7 minutes, and has been pretty silent offensively since that point.
You got to imagine that the bench for Atlanta is going to have to play. I mean, they've played every other day. I think they've on a stretch of 5 games in 9 days, so they're going to have to go a little deeper in that bench. And Courtney Williams leading the league in minutes. They've got to find ways to steal her some rest.
She gets a quick breather, I'm assuming, here on the bench now. But a great defensive series for Atlanta on the other end. You can see the communication getting better with each game as well. Ari McDonald works it around the perimeter. A lot of contact drawn for Odyssey Sims. She said count it.
It's a really tough move by Odyssey Sims. Now, I mentioned she hadn't shot the ball well in the last few games, but she has been distributing the ball and getting her teammates involved. Takes a hit, got that left hand, gets to the middle of the floor, a little bit of airtime there, and with the contact, gets it to go.
That's his second personal foul for Natasha Cloud, something to keep your eye out on as she picks up the 2 in the first quarter. Approaching the 90-minute mark. Ariel Atkins absolutely hovered by Odyssey Sims, but a bit too aggressive. She picks up the foul. So players to watch presented by Keenis Medical Technologies. Ari McDonald, who had an impressive game. The last game, 7 points she's averaging, but she's just been pretty impressive offensively, as Ariel Atkins has been pretty impressive herself.
I mean, bullseye. Pulling up on a dime off of the bounce. That's how good she feels about her 3 right now.
Last game, she had 23 points. That was a game high. She just continues to get things going. That's a foul against Monique Billings. That's her first foul.
Billings trying to clear some space in the lane for the drive. Gets called for that foul.
Atkins all the way to the rim. Can pick up the and 1. That's another foul that's going to go against Odyssey Sims, and you're assuming that's her second. They're going right at her. Something where you want to keep her in front, but also be mindful of fouls.
Well, it's a tough matchup because Atkins is 5'11", and Odyssey Sims is 5'8", so she's got a little bit of size on her, but she also had a full head of steam coming off of that screening action at the top. So in this lineup, Ari McDonald is 5'6". There's really not anyone size-wise who can match up with the physicality and the length of Atkins.
That's something that Atlanta has dealt with throughout the season so far, just dealing with everyone else's length. And also something where Ari McDonald is growing as well defensively. And we talked with Coach just about them still gelling on the defensive end and communicating. Mystics hit the 2 free throws as Atlanta has it with less than a minute in the ball game. Ari McDonald bounces around quite a bit and doesn't get it to go. Plaisance tried to save it on the inbounds, but probably not a good idea, as Tiana Hawkins is now on the board.
Hawkins playing against her old team, and Kira Leslie with some confidence in her jump shot there.
In rhythm, in flow, they can get a 2-for-1 here. And a foul called on the play. I'm assuming that's going against Leilani Mitchell, since she is palms up trying to figure out what the call is. That's going to be her first foul. And with that, it puts Atlanta to the free throw line, Monique Billings, in a spot where she said she wants to continue to grow as well at the free throw line, getting opportunities. So Monique Billings close to 70% from the free throw line, knocks down the first one.
And that's when she's at her best, when she is being aggressive, getting to the free throw line. She's the team's second leading rebounder behind Courtney Williams. So essentially she's their best rebounding post. And with the way Atlanta has been shooting the ball, they need her to get them extra possessions.
And she's seeing a lot of the pressure at the top of the key for Atlanta. That one doesn't go for Leslie. And Tiana Hawkins, just a lot of movement underneath, but coughs it up to her former team underneath the basket. And that one's going to go for Erica McCall.
Really good scramble on defense initially by the Dream. They just weren't able to corral that and get the possession.
So less than 10 on the shot clock. Odyssey Sims asking for the screen at the top of the key from Billings. And that's just a costly turnover. Don't even get a look on the offensive end, but Odyssey Sims touching her chest, saying my bad. That's something the Atlanta Dream are going to have to clean up to get back into this game where they're down 6. Welcome back. Well, the Mystics have a 6-point lead going into the second quarter, and the first quarter stats, though, are presented by State Farm. Let's take a look at them. And turnovers been a problem for both teams. Rebounds were locked at 7. But it's the field goal percentage for the Mystics. They're hitting shots, something that Atlanta Dream said they wanted to do.
Yeah, 7 assists on 9 made field goals for the Mystics. But the one area that Atlanta has been effective in disrupting them is they forced 6 Washington turnovers for 11 points. They will need more of that.
Last game going all the way back to the Wubble, Washington only had 1 turnover against the Dream. That was the fewest turnovers in a single game in franchise history. But it's a little bit different in this season.
Aisha Hines-Allen is like a bull in a china shop. She's so strong, but I mentioned how nimble and mobile and quick she can be off of the bounce. She's incredibly difficult to guard. Had a breakout season last year in the bubble for the Mystics when they were missing a lot of their pieces from the championship team. Hines-Allen went from scoring 2 points per game to averaging 17 points per contest last year.
I mean, to your point, she had 3 double-doubles this season, consecutive in that regard. She had 10 points and 6 rebounds before. She already had a 30-point game under her belt for this season as well. I mean, looking back at that team in the Wubble, it was only Maisha Hines-Allen as Ari McDonald gets the and one. That's something that you want to see from Erin McDonald, too, just the level of aggression that she's had. Fearless, but being ready.
Well, and player movement is what opened this up. There was an exchange happening on the wing at the same time that Ari was making that drive. So because they were making the defense on the wing shift right here, that little movement took away the crowding and the spacing and allowed for that drive by Ari.
Very interesting, too, LaChina, just for Tiana Hawkins. Maisha Hines-Allen knows that she can let it fly from outside, so baiting her a bit so she can't stay in the paint, opening up that paint a little bit. You talked about how teams are playing them differently, but it comes down to just making shots. Hines-Allen for 3, showing us everything in the bag.
Well, I feel like this is a good time for Atlanta to be disruptive with Natasha Cloud being in that foul trouble. They don't have their primary ball handler on the floor. I would just try to force Washington to get a little bit more uncomfortable in their offense.
Turnover from Tiffany Hayes, trying to force it on the inside. Ariel Atkins pushing the pace, finds Leilani Mitchell on the perimeter. That corners it, but she comes up with the rebound. Kickball from Elizabeth Williams. That'll be on the side. Reset to 14 for the Mystics. So one thing that Coach Peterson was saying, like, if we can't score, if we're trying to find our rhythm offensively, we can't let that deflate us on the defensive end. We'll see how they can get going defensively. Ariel Atkins blows by Cheyenne Parker, gets her own rebound, but it's knocked out of bounds by Ari McDonald. So Courtney Williams will check back into the game for Shakina Strickland. We'll see what this lineup does for the Dream. she'll get it all the way back court, but not before it's a turnover. So we've seen it go back and forth, LaChina. Turnovers have been a problem for both teams trying to get in a rhythm, but what it comes down to is the Mystics know who they're getting it to, and Atlanta still trying to find a rhythm for their scores. Tiffany Hayes takes a spill on the perimeter. Courtney Williams to Cheyenne Parker. Parker all the way to the rim, a lot of contact, and they're actually going to call the travel first on Cheyenne Parker.
Washington on the closeout, and Ariel Atkins getting in position but didn't need it. It was Parker with the walk.
Angelica Suffren with the call. And Erin McDonald knocking it out of bounds with the matchup against Leilani Mitchell. So they'll have to take it out in a very interesting area right in front of the bench, right in the corner. Atkins, a lot of action at the top of the key for Atlanta's defense, but that leaves Maisha Hines-Allen open from the three again and knocks it down.
Well, and that's what's so scary about Washington is Tina Charles can sit on the bench, and then you bring in, or you have Maisha Hines-Allen that becomes one of the primary scorers. Second-round pick out of Louisville, but she's a bucket.
She's been just that. The only player from both teams in double figures. She's only missed one shot so far. And then you start getting a little nervous as you see Natasha Cloud and Tina Charles sub back in for the Mystics. Hayes asked for the screen from Williams. Spin move on the inside, hits the front, but it will stay with Atlanta. Nice move for Tiffany Hayes trying to get something going on the inside. They just need buckets to fall.
Yeah, beautiful move. Again, Washington collapsing, showing some zone, getting their matchups with their bigs on some of Atlanta's guards. I mean, they've been just showing some different looks.
Great defense on Courtney Williams by Maisha Hines-Allen. Now she has a matchup with Erin McDonald. Let's see how this one goes. Airy for the fadeaway. Doesn't go, but Elizabeth Williams scrambles and tracks it down. Second chance opportunity works well for Atlanta. Courtney Williams with the three. So Courtney Williams has 5 points after just checking in the previous possession. Leilani Mitchell from the outside, and Atlanta once again have to find ways to defend the perimeter.
And Mitchell has shot the ball poorly this season compared to what she is capable of from the three-point line, but nails that one. And another beautiful move as Charles gets caught on Hayes on that bounce.
You asked Tiffany to be more aggressive to the paint. We've seen that so far. That's going to lead to a timeout for the Mystics. Mike Thibault has seen enough from Tiffany Charles. They'll find some adjustments. We'll see if they can get it going. Atlanta working themselves back into this one. See what they can do for the break.
Welcome back to Atlanta. Mystics up 36-27 on the Dream, and this is what Mike Peterson wants to see from his team. Look at the patience by Atlanta. The switching defense by Washington gets Tina Charles out on a smaller, quicker Tiffany Hayes, where she is able to get inside, and a beautiful mid-range pull-up by Hayes to execute that jumper. But I think it's going to take more action like that, more screening, more ball reversal, more patience for Atlanta to get some of the looks that they want.
Something to add to that as well, LaChina, Coach Peterson telling us too the importance and the role of the post players in freeing up the guards as well. And you're seeing how Cheyenne Parker rolling hard to the rim, Elizabeth Williams, and how she disconnects early in those pick and rolls, helps the guards get to their rhythm and their shot. Leilani Mitchell misses from mid-range. So good stop for Atlanta out of the break. Ari McDonald still on the floor for Atlanta. He's been getting some very key minutes. He's been very efficient in those minutes as well. All the way to the rim, finds Cheyenne Parker, bump from behind, and get the bucket to go.
Again, ball changes sides of the floor. Tiffany Hayes and Courtney Williams change sides of the floor, multiple actions, and then you get Cheyenne Parker here. I mean, this is a good drive by Ari McDonald to get a piece of the paint. She draws the help, and then Zealous nowhere near in position to contest that. Tries to get a block from the back.
It's very interesting.
The way I shoot the ball, that would have worked, because I kind of pull the ball back a little bit when I shoot. Get that from my dad. So, yeah, that you might have gotten that block on me, but.
With the lefty, too, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Who knows? But Shavonte Zealous pointing to her head like, got to think better. That's her second foul. But Cheyenne Parker now on the board.
Boy. I mean, who has more moves than Tina Charles? Is there a post player in this league that can score in the number of ways that Tina Charles can? I haven't seen it.
I'm not too sure if we will, because she's been absolutely phenomenal in May. She's incredible. Had 3 straight games with 30 points with China.
She's just so fundamentally sound. I mean, that's really where it starts, and the footwork is impeccable.
I would agree, and Leilani Mitchell picks up her 3rd foul, sending Tiffany Hayes to the free throw line. Peterson with a nice discussion on the side. It looks very civil.
Looks civil.
As Tiffany Hayes can't connect on the first one, Leilani Mitchell with the 3 fouls will take a trip to the bench as Ariel Atkins checks back in for the Mystics. And Tiffany Hayes gets that one to go. 9 points for her. 2 for 3 from the free throw. Once again, a lot of pressure at the top of the key. Atlanta forcing teams to turn the ball over just like that. Great defensive coverage for Atlanta. Courtney Williams calling her own shot and drops it.
She's really good at lulling you to sleep, making you think she's just looking, surveying the landscape, maybe about to pass it. No, she's about to hit that jumper.
It's 8 points for Courtney Williams, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. Ariel Atkins all the way to the bucket. My goodness.
She looks like a completely different player. To start the season, Atkins was 26% from the field in her first 2 games. She's 53% in her last 3. She is just, I mean, playing with a lot of balance and confidence.
I mean, Odyssey Sims trying to get things going for herself as well. She started off aggressive and continues in it. She has 7 points.
Yeah, she looks great this afternoon. Much better, taking much better looks and much more relaxed on the offensive end.
Nice defense by Elizabeth Williams. Tina Charles almost got it back after that rebound, but that's actually going to be her first foul that she picks up.
Notice how the pace of this game has picked up. That's what Atlanta wants. They don't want a game that is slowed down end to end. They got to be able to use their speed and speed this thing up and make Tina Charles and Maisha Hines-Allen have to play at a different pace.
You can see how their defense has the energy as well in this quarter as Courtney Williams misses the first one. Their Atlanta Dreamer on 11-4 run, LaChina. The energy that you've been mentioning is very impressive coming out of that quarter, but also understanding what they need to do defensively. We've seen different series with Tina Charles and Maisha Hines-Allen. Ariel Atkins checking in and still taking care of business as Williams knocks down the free throw, but they're still trying to work their way back into this one, a 3-point game. Tina Charles against Tiffany Hayes. Doesn't get that to go. Still a scramble. Odyssey Sims grabs it on the baseline. And Natasha Cloud, it seems, was trying to push Elizabeth Williams out of position on the block. So that foul is going to go against her. She's pleading her case a bit, but that's going to be her first foul.
I believe that's her 3rd, if it's on Cloud.
So they're saying that's going against Kara Leslie, actually.
Okay, got it.
And Elizabeth Williams.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It seemed like it did go against Natasha the way that she was, you know, trying to explain the foul as Elizabeth Williams knocks 2 down. That's something she's been looking to improve and add to her game as well on the season. Shooting only 38% from the free throw line, but knocks the 2 down. It's a 1-point game. Mystics up 1 with 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Tina Charles picks up the foul.
And here's that last foul we just talked about. As Odyssey Sims comes down the floor here. Yes, a little bump there by Leslie as Elizabeth Williams looks to get to her spot.
Atkins can't draw. Leslie with the rebound. Leslie with the bucket.
It's rare you see a guard out-jump Courtney Williams. But Kiera Leslie showing she's got some hops. Now, she is a 6-footer, so she's got a few inches on her.
At NC State. Selected 10th overall by the Mystics and really putting on a show for her squad so far. Odyssey Sims might have seen 3 rims. We've heard that before. Maisha Hines-Allen puts the ball on the ground, but it's blocked by Elizabeth Williams, and that's exactly what this dream team needs her to do. They can't convert in transition, though. Full court pass from Maisha Hines-Allen to Tina Charles. And everyone on both ends kind of looking for a rhythm. Maisha Hines again, nothing there. Tina Charles with the rebound. So strong, draws the foul.
Yeah, a couple of possessions for Atlanta that they should have executed on. I know Odyssey Sims wish he had that layup back, but that then causes scramble in defensive transition, and you don't get your matchups the way you want. You don't get your box outs the way you want, and ultimately it results in this. Tina Charles at the free throw line.
So that foul is going against Courtney Williams. That's her 3rd foul for today, and Tina Charles 5th in all-time rebounds. She's passed Sylvia Fowles, Rebecca Brunson as well. Leads the league in points per game. You mentioned that. Just continues to grow and move up the ranks in so many different areas. As the timeout is going to be called for Atlanta, who is down 5 here in the second quarter. Less than 3 minutes to go. But we'll have the game action coming back after this. Welcome back to College Park. The Mystics with a 5-point lead over the Atlanta Dream. Well, the Hawks postseason run continues into the Eastern Conference semifinals, and we've got postgame coverage with Bob Rathman and Dominique Wilkins throughout the series. Join us tomorrow following Game 4 for Hawks Live Playoffs Edition, only on Bally Sports Southeast and the Bally Sports app. I'm looking forward to going to the game tomorrow.
Well, listen, I'm calling it. The Hawks are going to even up the series tomorrow. But the crowd has to get into it, you know, like
That's
I remember
true.
I went to the Knicks game when the Knicks were playing the Hawks here. And not to say they weren't in it in Game 3, but that home court advantage is something I think people don't expect in Atlanta, but they've gotten it. It's been nice.
We need to see it on Monday for sure. Absolutely.
Come on, Angel.
A lot on the
you.
line.
It's on your shoulders.
I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if I should paint my face, what I need to do with that
you need
information.
to pull all of that out. The way Philly's playing, you need to pull all the stops.
Well, I'll get the paint out for sure. Tomorrow, Courtney Williams on the baseline, trapped by Natasha Cloud as well as Tina Charles. Monique Billings running into a wall, had to heave it up, and tough shot.
And that's what Washington wanted to do, right? Get the ball out of the hands of Courtney Williams, and they're okay taking a gamble on leaving Billings open because she doesn't really look to score.
Maisha Hines-Allen traveled, was trying to get to that second look under the basket. She got Monique Billings up, but it's actually going to go against the Mystics. That's something that they've been struggling with so far tonight. They have 8 turnovers. Tiana Hawkins, Elizabeth Williams, Courtney Williams, and Tiffany Hayes on the floor for the Dream, and that's going to be a foul on the floor. That's going against Ariel Atkins. That's her second foul. That's going to send Tiffany Hayes to the free throw line. LaChina, we've talked about Tiffany Hayes' season after scoring in single digits the previous game, her first game back with Atlanta after missing 2 seasons. Just 5 points from that point on. She's been absolutely phenomenal, having some of her best scoring efforts in her career, her best scoring average so far through the first few games, and she knocks down 2.
I mean, it's hard to guard Tiffany Hayes. She's one of the toughest guards in this league. She's an all-star, in my opinion, almost every year, even though she hasn't necessarily garnered that accolade. But, you know, the thing for Tiffany is just keeping her poise. You know, if she stays in the game mentally, no one can stop her. Only she can stop herself.
And this team is looking to her for leadership as well. You can see how she's trying to grow in that poise as well at China. And tough news for the Atlanta Dream as Courtney Williams is walking to Coach Peterson, shaking her head quite a bit because she just picked up her 4th foul with 2 minutes left to go in the second quarter to close out. And she's actually going to take a trip to the bench for the first time. We're going to see Crystal Bradford check in for the Atlanta Dream.
I don't know if those 2 fouls happened in succession for Courtney Williams, but I did not realize she had 3 fouls. I'm surprised she was in the game with 3 fouls in the second quarter.
Picked up 2 quick ones in the first quarter and then an earlier one to start the quarter in the second. And unfortunately, she will be on the bench more than likely for the rest of the half. Tiffany Hayes taking the reins a bit at the top of the key. Maisha Hines-Allen trying to lock her up, but as you said earlier, LaChina, not many people can stay in front of Tiffany Hayes.
Again, on that switch, I mean, Washington has not been able to cover up Hayes, and she's drawn the contact just with how quick and swift she is with that motion to the rim.
Tiffany Hayes knocks down the first one.
I love those shoes Tiffany has on. I don't know what they are, but there's some good-looking kicks.
Well, we see the little show that they put on the big screen about her love for kicks and her closet. We need to talk to her because she is, quote unquote, a sneakerhead. She said she doesn't like wearing everything like everyone else. Her favorites are Kyrie's.
Well,
those look like Kyrie's.
I'm not a sneakerhead, and in fact, I couldn't tell you what those even might be, but they look good on her feet.
She said Kyrie's are her favorite shoe. See a little of that in her game as well. Tiana Hawkins from outside, and you have to love seeing the outside shot falling for Hawkins.
And the awareness by Tiffany Hayes.
So with that shot by Tina Charles, the Mystics have missed their last 7 shots. Crystal Bradford with the energy off the bench for 2.
Look at the fans. They love Crystal Bradford.
We love Crystal Bradford as well. Just instant offense off the bench.
That's the loudest applause we've heard all afternoon.
Got us out our seats in Odyssey Sims. You can see the energy continuing to flow from Atlanta. Back-to-back buckets. 10-2 run for Atlanta. Another turnover for the Mystics. That one's going against Hines-Allen. Odyssey Sims had the bucket. The energy is flowing in the arena, and it's because Atlanta is getting things done defensively, leading to their offense.
Odyssey Sims is wreaking havoc, but first, look at this pass by Tiffany Hayes to the corner. Tiana Hawkins is starting to get confidence in that 3. Bradford off of the bench with the drive, and Odyssey Sims, I mean, she was all over the possession. She looked like Odyssey Sims from back in her Baylor days.
Right.
With the scramble.
Just a 2012 NCAA champ as well. All-star in 2019. All-rookie team in 2014. But at the end of the day, LaChina, it just comes down to the energy that she provides defensively. She can really put things together on both ends of the floor.
And I love the way she stuck with it, because she's had some tough shots and hasn't, you know, impacted the offense, I'm sure, the way she's wanted to in the last few games. But right here, just getting her hand in the passing lane. She's guarding Ariel Atkins, active, gets that layup, and then goes back and does it again. And we are awaiting an official's review here. Not sure what they're looking at. Maybe a clear path foul. I'm not sure.
That foul did happen close to half court right after she pick the ball. We're going to wait on the call here, though. So after the review, they're saying that that is just a common foul, not a clear path by Roy Goldbane after looking at the tape. So Odyssey Sims will step up to the free throw line. What a second quarter this has been for Atlanta. And right as Courtney Williams picked up her 4th foul, headed to the bench, you're wondering where they're going to get their energy from. Crystal Bradford checks in and just lights out. Tiana Hawkins knocking down a 3, steals on the defensive end, and you're seeing the life in Atlanta with them also having the 4-point lead.
19 points off turnovers for the Dream in the first half. That's the way they want to play. And they've also got 7 points off offensive rebounds. So those are important stats, along with the 18 points in the paint.
Well, they lead the lead in steals. They lead the league in offensive rebounds as well at 11.4. They've been getting it done. Discipline in that area. Tina Charles with the dish to Natasha Cloud in the corner. A much-needed bucket for the Mystics.
Important shot for Cloud as well. As she has been somewhat limited in and out of this one with some foul trouble, some early foul trouble.
2 fouls for Natasha Cloud. 3 points for her. That's her first bucket of the game. 10 on the shot clock. Just a couple of seconds difference. 3-2. It's heaved, and that's not going to go. They're going to wave that out and be done. 26-12 Atlanta run the last 6 minutes of this game. You already mentioned how they were getting it done on the defensive end, but also LaChina just also seeing how they're taking care of the boards. Their bigs as well as their guards getting into everything, and then the officials trying to see if there was still time on the clock, but they're actually going to say, everyone go to your lockers. This one's done for the first half. So great effort for Atlanta in the second quarter to finish things off the right way. A couple people with some foul trouble, but no problem. Crystal Bradford checks in. The energy happens. Welcome back to Atlanta. Tonight's presentation of Atlanta Dream Basketball is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Atlanta with the 2-point lead coming into the second half. And let's look at the stats. LaChina, you can't score without the ball, and honestly, Atlanta got back into the Dream because of the 11 turnovers they forced by the Mystics.
Yeah, their defense really stepped it up, but also getting to the free throw line I thought was important for Atlanta to kind of get into their rhythm. But it all starts on the defensive end. And, you know, Washington had a little foul trouble and, you know, had some moments where they had to go to their bench. But I think Mike Peterson has to be proud of the way his team persevered through some of the challenges in that first half.
Absolutely. Those halftime stats are presented by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield as we are now underway here in the second half. Tina Charles, not much has changed in the second half from the first with the double team that she's grabbing, and you wouldn't be surprised that she's going at it right out of the gate. 2 points. So 13 points for Tina Charles. Double figure scoring game for Tina as Odyssey Sims just picking up where she left off from that first half. 13 points for her.
We've talked so much about Kennedy Carter not being in the lineup and how that kind of changes things for Atlanta. Well, Odyssey Sims has stepped up. It's been a different player almost every game that has tried to fill in for some of the missing offense, and Odyssey has the experience. I mean, she's been an all-star in this league. She knows what it's like to be in the moments. Speaking of the moments, Courtney Williams stepping up, keeping in mind she's still got those 4 fouls.
And hopefully she can play with them. 11 points for her, 4 for 6 from the field. And she was trying to get things going in that first half. Picked up more fouls than Coach Peterson was happy with, but the aggression hasn't changed. Tiffany Hayes, welcome to the building. Beautiful play by Atlanta offensively to start the quarter.
The Dream coming out of the locker room at half with the kind of intensity you want to see. The home crowd is into it. There's some energy in the building. And the Dream with a 7-point lead. Good ball movement. Tiffany Hayes, bang.
Welcome back to Atlanta. The Dream on a 7-0 run that puts them up 7 so far in the half. Let's talk about merchandise. Order the latest Atlanta Dream merchandise today. We have jerseys, t-shirts, hats, and more. Visit atlantadream.net to link to the official Dream store. We're looking through the arena at some fans that are happy about what they're seeing from the Dream so far today. See the Atlanta jersey there. They're Explorer jerseys that they are donning for today's match against the Mystics. A lot of gear that we're seeing from some fans in the stands as well. So it's always good. We love the energy that's around this Dream team as well. New ownership. And just them being proud of what they've been able to do for the city as Maisha Hines-Allen stretches out and finishes for 2. So right out of the gate, the Mystics score, and the Dream turn the ball over.
Not sure where Elizabeth Williams was going, but she has got to continue to be aggressive. Good contest at the rim by Tiffany Hayes. I think she bothered that shot by Tina Charles.
But there on the second effort, that foul is going to go against Tiffany Hayes. That's just going to be her first personal foul.
I mean, this is a nice job by Hayes to come over on the help. And it really looked like Tina may have made the contact on that.
Just that right arm, LaChina, to your point, to try and get out of some trouble on the baseline. Instead, she picks up or draws the foul, rather, as Cheyenne Parker rips down the rebound. Cheyenne Parker with 4 rebounds. Courtney Williams playing with 4. It doesn't matter. She has 13 on the day.
The tough 2. No problem for Courtney Williams. When she gets into her shooting motion, it is tough. I mean, whether she makes or misses is really up to her because she can hit that shot and defend it.
It's a deflection by Odyssey Sims. Busy hands for Odyssey. Great defense for the Dream. Shavonte Zealous from the outside, and Cheyenne Parker rips down the rebound. Great defensive series for Atlanta. That one's deflected out of bounds by Ariel Atkins. The Dream will get the ball back.
Right here, take a look at how Courtney Williams improvises defensively. Odyssey Sims did not get back from the help on Tina Charles, so Courtney Williams just came over and showed a little bit. And even though she wasn't able to get a hand up, I mean, those are the little moments that defensively you can get a stop and put together a good sequence.
So we're seeing a level of execution on both ends of the floor for Atlanta, getting a stop and beautiful pass underneath from Hayes to Cheyenne Parker. Another deflection. They can't come up with it, but the active hands for Atlanta has been intense since they came out of the break. Ariel Atkins from outside draws the back iron. Odyssey Sims with the rebound.
Atlanta never even guarded Natasha Cloud in the corner.
Natasha Cloud struggling from the outside. Guess who isn't? Cheyenne Parker holding the follow through just a bit. So Cheyenne Parker takes it to 8 points with the 3 at the top of the key, which leads to a timeout for the Mystics, trying to stop the bleeding quite a bit. Atlanta 65-53 right now, but let's look at this beautiful execution for Atlanta.
Ball movement here to the top of the key where Cheyenne Parker just in her shooting motion. And I don't know if Tina Charles was supposed to recover there. Someone needed to get up and contest. I mean, that's a shot that Cheyenne Parker is very capable of hitting. Only 33% from long range on the season, but she definitely can stretch the floor.
She had her first double-figure scoring game against the Lynx. Struggled here quite a bit, but coach said it doesn't matter. We're going to continue to invest in Cheyenne Parker. She had 17 in the previous game against Seattle, and she continues to show us why they do indeed need to invest in her.
Well, and something we've talked about with this Atlanta team is balance, hitting some threes. They're 6 for 13 from long range. So on that last possession when Parker hit that 3, Washington was so focused on guarding the paint. And now they've got to extend some, which should create some driving lanes for Atlanta.
When you hit shots, Atlanta, you make the defense question quite a bit to see what they're going to do defensively. And you're seeing how they're juggling that right now by the Mystics. Foul for Atlanta on that previous play. That one went against Hayes. That's her second. Block at the rim. Elizabeth Williams, along with a couple of people in the stands, feel otherwise.
Now, this was clean up top. There may have been some body, but this was clean. Let's see. Maybe she got a little piece of the hand, but I don't know about that one.
Well, that one takes her to 3 personal fouls as Hines Allen misses the first free throw. But yes, that is Elizabeth Williams protecting the paint. That's what Coach says he calls her to do. They trust her in the paint as well, just not being able. Cheyenne Parker dialing it up again. We see you, Cheyenne Parker.
Well, Washington gets Tiffany Hayes to go right. They were loaded up on that left hand. And Parker, again, good from outside on the kick out. And Odyssey Sims, another turnover.
I was talking with Dania LaForce at halftime, and she mentioned the confidence, the poise, the energy, the swag that this team has. It happens first on the defensive end, but you're seeing how they're starting to gel together and what it can look like with these pieces. Tiffany Hayes off to Cheyenne Parker at the top of the key, guarded by Tina Charles. Working a little bit of two-man game. Odyssey Sims from the corner doesn't go. Second chance opportunity ripped down by Cheyenne Parker.
Elizabeth Williams kept that alive on the rebound.
Courtney Williams crossover at the top of the key. Picks up her dribble, finds Elizabeth Williams, who attacks the rim and doesn't get it to go. Atkins from the top of the key drains it.
When you look at the shooting numbers right now, Atlanta shooting 51% from the field, 47% from long range. And this is a Washington team that is not where Mike Tebow would want them defensively. And here in the third quarter, they're going to have to step up to the challenge because the Dream is really starting to feel it.
11-point lead for Atlanta. The dish out to Courtney Williams with a nice little sign from Courtney Williams to the Mystics bench.
I think the bench may have said a little something like, off.
One can only assume, but Courtney Williams and the rest of this Atlanta squad has just been on fire as you see the chest bump from Odyssey Sims. Look at this dish.
It starts with a piece of the paint. And I don't even know how Odyssey got the ball out, but she knew it was good. She just ran back on the defensive end.
That part. 3 assists from Odyssey.
And this is what we saw from Atlanta earlier in the season, knocking down the long ball, which makes their offense so much more dynamic and difficult to stop.
LaChina, at one point against Seattle, they were shooting 17% from the three-point line. Tonight, they're shooting 50%. They've already knocked down 8 of them. That makes a difference. You've already alluded to it as well, the balance that they're showing in the second half. Hopefully, they can continue in this play.
And they're 4 of 5 from 3 in the third quarter.
So a foul by Tiffany Hayes will also have her seat on the side. That's her third personal foul. And here's why.
I mean, it's hard to judge force, but without being able to see how much contact there was between them, it's hard to say.
And it's tough when that foul also sends the Mystics to the free throw line. Ariel Atkins steps up for 2, misses the first one. And Ariel Atkins from the free throw line is pretty deadly, 90% on the season so far. Mentioned the last game having 23 points, 7 for 10 from the field. She had 8 straight games with 15 or more points. And she's just 1 away from making it 9. Yeah, that possession, a lot of tipping the ball for Atlanta, leads to a turnover. The Mystics scrambling in their offense. Leilani Mitchell from outside can't connect, and None other than Courtney Williams comes down with the rebound. High screen from Monique Billings. Nice dish from Odyssey Sims. Monique Billings brings it down, though, is stripped by Ariel Atkins. Hines Allen pushing the pace in transition for the Mystics. Hines Allen going against Monique Billings.
Washington just standing around watching Hines Allen. She delivers.
Why not? She's putting on a show, fade away, and then communicating to Ariel Atkins, who left Courtney Williams all the way out there by herself, and with that turns the ball over for Atlanta.
Atkins forcing the turnover there, so Washington starting to show some signs of life after most of this third quarter has gone Atlanta's way.
We talked about the turnovers that Atlanta was forcing. Well, Atlanta has 4 turnovers in this quarter. There's a foul here.
Another foul on Tiffany Hayes.
So that's going to push her to 4 fouls. She's trying to get some type of resolve there, but you're not going to rescind it. The best thing you can do is get an explanation.
I don't know who she fouled.
That's a very interesting call.
I mean, if anything, she took herself out of the play, and if she didn't take herself out of the play, Hines Allen took her out.
Tina Charles will take a seat. Teresa Plaisance will check in for the Mystics. It's a very interesting call at the top of the key, because that's something that the officials are actually looking at too, just the screener and how they're moving to create. That seemed as if it was going to go against Hines Allen. Instead, Tiffany Hayes picks up her 4th, and she remains in the game. Odyssey Sims working it around to Courtney Williams. The high arch doesn't go, but Monique Billings on the glass.
And look at the bodies in front of Tiffany Hayes on that left-hand side. But Tiana Hawkins starting to get comfortable in Atlanta and doing it against her old team.
Coming off of the bench and still providing that energy and just the poise. You can see her starting to get settled offensively with this team. Ariel Atkins outside. That one doesn't go, and Tiana Hawkins pulls down the board. 13-point lead for the Atlanta Dream, having a stellar third quarter as they continue it with Monique Billings finishing at the rim.
Good recognition by Monique Billings. There was a wide open clear out in the lane for Billings to sweep and go, and she's got the foot speed advantage here over Plaisance. No one in position to help, especially with the way Atlanta had been shooting the 3. That's what's opening up the floor right now, is that they've hit some 3s, and now the Mystics have to stay honest.
That will be the first foul against Plaisance. Erica McCall at the top of the key just checks in for Hines Allen and turns the ball over at the top of the key. Swarming defense by Odyssey Sims, takes it and delivers on the other end.
This is by far Odyssey Sims' best game of the season. I mean, her aggressiveness on both ends has set the tone for this team.
And right now she has a season high 15. The first game against Connecticut, she had 14. From there on out, she scored in single digits. She did have 9 against Minnesota, but to your point, LaChina, we're seeing her get it done on both ends of the floor. The energy has just been so different for Odyssey.
You just forget over time how quick she is. And she can be incredibly instinctual, especially on defense. I mean, she is making up ground very quickly and shooting gaps and getting deflections and tips. Just great activity this afternoon.
So Kira Leslie checks in, and Crystal Bradford checks in for Tiffany Hayes. Crystal Bradford becoming one of those fan favorites every time she checks in and gets a nice ovation, as well as an ovation for Tiffany Hayes, as that one goes for the Mystics. 15-point lead for Atlanta, as the Mystics are trying to push the pace. The turnover at the top of the key by Ariel Atkins, and just a bullet on the inside, and they were trying to see who they were going to get it to. Either way, just a turnover for Atlanta. So the play of the game presented by Sonic. We'll start here with the steal in the bucket by Odyssey.
One of her 4 steals into transition and 2 of the 23 points off turnovers today for the Dream.
Plaisance. And an interesting call at the baseline, a jump ball called, but Erica McCall fell with the ball.
I'm trying to figure out how that wasn't a travel.
And the rest of the officials in the stands, too, are looking for the same.
I mean, there are a lot of officials in the building right now, you know, that's all I mean, I guess technically, since it could have been a trip by Crystal Bradford, they'll take the jump ball if you're the Dream.
We'll just leave it at that, as there's a jump ball between Erica McCall and Crystal Bradford, who tips it out, and there's another stoppage of play. The foul is actually going to go against Atlanta.
Lane violation. First shot after 14 seconds. Mystics ball.
Okay, so there's a foul that goes against Atlanta, and a lane violation that's going against Atlanta, which still gives the Mystics the ball. Less than 40 seconds left in this quarter. Plaisance to Leslie, swarmed on the inside by Atlanta, and a much-needed bucket by the Mystics.
And that's the price you pay. It's a high-risk, high-reward defense, as Atlanta will send 2 defenders and look to try to wreak havoc and create turnovers. So you're going to give up a shot or 2 just like that.
A lot of energy. Great board and tip out by Monique Billings. That'll reset it to 14. Just a couple of seconds between the difference of the game clock and the shot clock. She's at 3. She lets it go. Odyssey Sims can't get it to drop, and a foul is committed. Talking about the hard work by Crystal Bradford underneath.
Trying to be a spark. That's what she's been all season. She's had a rough stretch these last few games as the rotation for the Dream has changed with Cheyenne Parker back in, but Odyssey Sims had the defense on her back, and Mike Tebow wanted an over-the-back foul there. I'm not sure that was going to be the case, considering the fact that Teresa Plaisance was not even in position. Looked like Bradford just got to the side of her and created equal opportunity.
Just going back to Crystal Bradford, this is one of the players that Coach Peterson says she's not on the wall or anything like that, still trying to work out what position she's fitting into most. We've seen her at the 4, we've seen her at the 3, but more than anything, she comes on the floor and she'll do anything for this team. But being a spark is one, as she missed that last free throw, and that will close out the quarter for Atlanta. It went 11 for 16 in that quarter. Beautiful performance for Atlanta defensively. Let's see if they can close it out in the 4th.
WNBA Enterprises may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of WNBA Enterprises.
Atlanta had a lead of as much as 17. They enter the 3rd quarter being up 13, though. Well, let's see how we got here. Here are the stats for the first 3 quarters. LaChina, what stands out to you about how Atlanta has been able to turn the tide in the second half?
Well, if you look at 3rd quarter only, Atlanta was 5 for 9 from long range. And again, the 3-point line was kind to the Dream, and it hasn't been here in recent games, and it's just a game changer. I mean, Tiffany Hayes has hit 2, Cheyenne Parker's hit 2, Courtney Williams has hit 3, Tiana Hawkins has hit 2, so that's several players on the team that have hit 3s, which changes what Washington wanted to do defensively, which is to sag off into the lane on the Dream's offense.
A turnover for Atlanta, but just going back to their play so far, they outscored the Mystics 32-24 in the second quarter, 28-17 in the 3rd. Much behind the balanced scoring that they've had, and Teresa Plaisance will have an offensive foul at the top of the key. That's her second.
Little handoff action there, and it looked like Plaisance may have been moving into Courtney Williams, which from our angle could have been difficult for you to see because it wasn't left to right, it was north to south, but definitely the right call.
I'm starting to think your eyes are better than mine, LaChina, at this point.
Well, you did start the game with some glasses on that I had never seen you wear before, so I'm a little concerned. I figured I needed to pick up the slack.
I appreciate you. You're the best teammate ever. As the ball goes out of bounds for Atlanta.
You had a pair of Steve Urkels on to start.
They're right here. My eyes, too much screen time. That's what it is.
Those devices now sound like our moms.
Exactly.
And grandmoms.
Thanks for joining us, Angel Gray, alongside LaChina Robinson, as Atlanta is trying to find a way to close this one out and break the 4-game losing streak that they have before they go on the road and actually play the Mystics for their first game in Washington. And underneath, Erica McCall gets fouled. So that's Monique Billings' third foul. Erica McCall out of Stanford. We always talk about her being the sister of WNBA star and all-star DeWanna Bonner.
So cool to see two sisters in the league. Their journeys have been different. McCall has definitely had to work to get her position on a roster, and this is one of her best seasons, if not her best. And then Bonner is just, boy, she having quite the season. Though Connecticut looked like they were in a little trouble today against Seattle without Jonquel Jones.
Well, both teams sitting at the top of the standings in the WNBA, their first matchup against one another. We'll have to get that score a little later on in the game. Plaisance from the top of the key, fading into a shot, doesn't go, and Elizabeth Williams was trying to dribble before she came down, holding on to that left leg just a little bit before she's getting up. She'll tie her shoe. So because we have the best crew in the truck, thank you to our producer, Glenn, telling us the outcome of the Seattle, Connecticut game. Seattle beat Connecticut 89-66, LaChina.
I mean, it's almost a blowout when you consider how well Connecticut had been playing, and especially at home. Seattle has been on a tear on this 5-game road stretch they're on. We saw them firsthand in Atlanta.
Hearing that Brianna Stewart had 22 points. Sue Bird doing Sue Bird things, scoring in double figures as well. So Seattle still rolling after we saw them back-to-back nights here in Atlanta. And another foul committed by Atlanta, and you're seeing how the momentum is starting to shift into the Mystics' hands with them just being aggressive to the rim.
Yeah, Mike Tebow, Coach Tebow has a lineup in to see if, you know, they can kind of sustain and close this gap a little bit while he's got his starters on the bench. And Natasha Cloud, before we went to the break before the fourth quarter, was kind of working on her right hip. And we know that she was on the injury report list with a hip flexor, but was probable to play. She did play, but that may be bothering her a little bit today. She's been working on it on the side.
25 minutes of play. She's only scored 3 points and only taken one shot, LaChina, so we'll keep an eye out on that. She had the 6 assists to add that as well in those 25 minutes.
Washington in that zone, with scrambling out of it. Very interesting junk defense there by Washington.
Well, that leads to another bucket from behind the arc for Courtney Williams. 19 points for her. Leslie passing it off. Odyssey Sims and Courtney Williams closing it up at the top of the key defensively. A lot of action defensively for Atlanta. That leads to a Mystics turnover. Courtney Williams with the steal. So active hands for Atlanta leads to an opportunity on the other end. Odyssey Sims working off a Cheyenne Parker screen. No good there, but the cleanup crew with Elizabeth Williams finishing on the right.
And she's still a little hobbly. We saw her retie that shoe, and she got up wincing. She's still a little bit hobbly after making that putback.
Well, those are her first 2 points from the field, LaChina. Cross-court pass from Elizabeth Williams to Tiffany Hayes. You got a feeling that was going to be at the bottom of the bucket. Tiffany Hayes with 18 points, shooting 50% from both the field and the three-point line.
And on that last possession, Teresa Plaisance hit a three. Leslie's just short there, but Plaisance has been able to hit a couple outside shots. She was 3 for 6 against the Sparks just a few nights ago. So she's starting to finally get a little rhythm on her three.
All right, that foul by Erica McCall is going to give Atlanta the ball back right after the break. The Atlanta Braves' next telecast will be Tuesday at the host as they host the Boston Red Sox at Truist Park. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern on Bally Sports South and the Bally Sports app. They actually won today 6-4 over the Miami Marlins, so I know my dad is somewhere so happy about the Braves winning today. And I'm assuming the fans here in Gateway Center Arena are pretty pleased with how Atlanta's been playing, especially in the second half, as they have a 16-point lead over the Mystics. And how did we get here, LaChina? Because Washington started so hot out of the gate. They were 15 for 26, shooting 58% from the field, and now they are shooting a very interesting 25%, from the field.
Yeah, I mean, Washington clearly struggled to hang on to the basketball, and you credit Atlanta's defense. I just felt like the Dream took them out of a rhythm of everything they wanted to do. I mean, they've got 71 points with 5 minutes still left in this game, and they're coming off of an 89-point performance against Washington, 85 against Minnesota, 96 against Vegas. So you got to look at the defense of the Dream and how disruptive they've been. And I mentioned Natasha Cloud earlier, and she looks like she may be icing. Not sure if we will see her again in this game, which is huge for the Mystics. I mean, they definitely need her on the floor.
Plaisance can't connect from the top of the key, and to your point, we're seeing the warm-up jersey for Natasha Cloud on the bench. So we'll see if she can return, but Atlanta right now rolling with an 18-point lead. Courtney Williams, who has been fantastic another night, scoring in double figures, and Odyssey Sims continues in at LaChina. This is where the three-point shooting we see from Atlanta. They've been needing it all season. 18 points for Odyssey Sims. Her best continues to get built on for this season with Atlanta. That foul is going to go against Elizabeth Williams. Pretty frustrated with the foul. That's her fourth. A couple of players currently in for Atlanta with some foul trouble. Courtney Williams with 4, Elizabeth Williams with 4, as well as Tiffany Hayes with 4.
You mentioned again the play of Odyssey Sims, and she was an all-star in Minnesota in 2019. Started her career in Tulsa in 2014, keeping in mind from her Baylor days, she played alongside Brittany Griner. But what we've known about the play of Odyssey Sims over time is just her incredible quickness. And she was 5 for 29 from the field in her last 3 games. again, had 18 assists over the last 4, but had just kind of struggled. Gave birth to her son, Jaden, in 2020 and fought to get back into the WNBA. Last year was still with Minnesota at the time, but we were all shocked when she had just had her son and came back and was able to contribute to the team. So she's tough, and just really good to see her have a breakout game like this.
This is incredible for her, as you mentioned, just her journey through this league so far, putting up some very impressive numbers, but that is no surprise if you are a WNBA fan. You know this. Tulsa, then Dallas that it turned into, that she was drafted to, went on to LA, then with the Lynx, and has just continued to show what she can be about here in Atlanta.
And I also think, I'll say this, you know, Aerie McDonald got a lot of minutes at the end of the last game in place of Odyssey Sims. And if you're Sims, you know what kind of position that puts your team in. Not that Aerie's not capable, right, but she's a rookie, you know, and Odyssey knows what she's capable of. So I think that also may have gotten her fired up a little bit.
I love the feature that the WNBA had just in the offseason with Tia Cooper, too, talking about going against the moms in the WNBA, and she said they're built different. They just have like the mother strength or something, and maybe we're seeing that from Odyssey Sims tonight or today as well. Leilani Mitchell drains a 3 from the top of the key. So the biggest lead for Atlanta was 21. With plenty left in this game for Atlanta to see if they can eclipse the 100-point mark. And they've needed a nice scoring output in the last few games they've had. Cheyenne Parker with the rebound and a timeout for Atlanta. It's been all Atlanta. We'll see if they can close this one out, but they're looking pretty good so far. Tonight's presentation of Atlanta Dream Basketball is brought to you by Coca-Cola. If you're wondering what our next telecast is, well, Atlanta Dream telecast will be on Wednesday, June 23rd against the Minnesota Lynx at 7 p.m. Eastern on Bally Sports Southeast and the Bally Sports app.
Atlanta's going to want to get a little revenge on Minnesota after the way the 2 games at their place went. Their second contest, Minnesota put up 100, but that first one was a close. It was one defensive switch away from stopping the Visa Collier, a 2-point loss for the Dream, so I'm sure they'll be motivated.
Absolutely. Hoping to see if we get some good news about where Kennedy Carter is trending as well. But they want to close this one out against the Mystics as well. Mystics have won the last 6 contests against Atlanta. And they have the all-time series 24-23, so this game would tie it for Atlanta at 24-all. Very interesting, too, for the payback. The last time Atlanta played the Mystics was in the Wubble, and that was actually for the clinch to get the 8th spot in the 2020 playoffs. So very interesting for Atlanta to come out so strong, especially without Kennedy Carter, as Odyssey Sims continues to have one of her best nights of her career. 20 points on the night for her, 8 for 14 from the field.
Well, and also keeping in mind that last year, as we talk about the bubble and everything that happened with the WNBA, it was a game that was supposed to happen between these 2 teams where they decided not to play. It was after the shooting of Jacob Blake, and I remember distinctly the Washington Mystics just feeling like, listen, guys, we're not going to do this tonight. You know, they were emotionally drained and didn't feel like playing was the right thing to do, and the Players Association and the players and Commissioner Engelberg got together, and it ended up being a day of remembrance and of observation and of rest. But what this league did last summer when it came to social justice just cannot be understated. It was just incredible.
I think they led the pack from any league on how to stand in unity, LaChina, not just from one team and their message, but for this league to come together in the Wubble and the message that they had and how they supported one another and made sure everyone was on the same page. It was so commendable. Very admirable to see how even just between Atlanta and the Mystics, how they came together. They wore the T-shirts with the gunshot in the back and the shirt, and we heard something from Ariel Atkins, a statement from her, as well as Elizabeth Williams, where they spoke and they mentioned we're not going to play tonight because it's something bigger that we want the message to be about. And you can see this right here, Jacob Blake and how they're together. You can see Nneka Ogwumike out there with them as well. And it's just the messaging behind it, together, standing in unity. And these are the shirts from the Mystics.
Yeah, again, it can't be overstated the amount of togetherness that this league showed last summer. And that was an important night because these players were experiencing what the rest of the world was experiencing after Jacob Blake's shooting. And Odyssey Sims will come out to a round of applause here, very well deserved.
So the player of the game, LaChina, presented by Arby's, is indeed Odyssey Sims, as she's getting a nice shake from Kennedy Carter and Courtney Williams over there talking her up as well. Tiffany Hayes. I love when Courtney Williams spoke about, you know, just the guard play and just mentioning the dogs that they have on this team and how they fight together. So it's very interesting to see how everything is coming together for the backcourt play in Atlanta, as they are a couple of seconds from closing this one out, as Crystal Bradford just having fun with it at this point with a nice skip to my Lou from the bench.
And with that bucket, Atlanta is at 101 points after struggling to score the basketball in their last couple of games. A 75-point outing against Seattle, a 71-point outing against Seattle the game before that. 101 here against Washington.
Coach Mike Peterson said before the game, we have to make shots. Our defense was improved against Seattle. We didn't come away with the win, but at the end of the day, we were resilient. We fought in the second half. Now we have to make shots. They did just that, and they walk away with the best field goal percentage in franchise history, 51% that they shot from the field. So impressive for them to have this effort for tonight. Balanced scoring as well. 18 from Tiffany Hayes, Cheyenne Parker with 11. Courtney Williams had 21 points as well, but the player of the game, as we mentioned, as she's giving us the thumbs up on the other side, Odyssey Sims with one heck of a night, 20 points, 8 for 14 from the field, and Odyssey will start here. It was important for you guys to break the streak and show us what you guys could do offensively, but what was it like for you, and what were you feeling offensively that led to the 20 points?
I just played more free today. Still adjusting. We got half the team that's brand new that haven't played together. So we're just trying to continue to get better, know each other, and just have a flow, especially on offense. The team, we like to run, especially in transition. So each game we're going to get better. And today was a good day for me and my team, of course, but we got to keep it rolling.
Odyssey, this is the most aggressive. Seems like Tiffany Hayes likes that play as well, but this was the most aggressive I feel like I've seen you all season on both ends of the floor. What was your mindset coming into today?
I mean, I'm a defensive-minded player. It doesn't really matter what I do on offense. As long as I, contain, I always want to guard the best player on the perimeter. Today, we had good defense, man-to-man, zone. We just helped each other. We talked a little bit more. We've been lacking communication our first few games, so we're just trying to get better, continue to talk to each other, and just build.
Something that was noticeable on the offensive end was the team was really filling it from the three-point line, and that just adds another dimension to the offense for the Dream. What happens with you guys just mentally when you're knocking down outside shots?
Of course, that's a bonus. Anytime we shoot the ball well from the three. We have a couple games where we go in a little bit of a slump, but we're going to keep shooting them. And with me, Tiffany Hayes, of course, we like to penetrate. It opens everything up when everybody sinks because they need 2 or 3 people to guard us. Gives Courtney Williams, Tiana Hawkins, Cheyenne Parker, and the rest of them opportunities to knock down shots. I mean, we're creating for them, giving them the open shot to knock it down.
Beautiful performance, Odyssey. Go and celebrate this one with the team before you guys head on the road. Atlanta best 51% from the field. Congratulations on a beautiful shooting effort for tonight.
Thank you.
So Atlanta 101-78. Beautiful performance on both ends for the floor for them getting it done. We'll have more after the break. Atlanta Dream win the Commissioner's Cup game against the Mystics 101-78. For LaChina Robinson and our entire crew, I'm Angel Gray. Thanks for joining us for Atlanta Dream basketball, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Our next telecast is Wednesday, June 23rd, when the Dream take on the Minnesota Lynx on Bally Sports Southeast, 7 p.m. Eastern. Beautiful play from Atlanta. Cheyenne Parker showing us she could shoot from deep. Well, it was everyone shooting from deep as they finished 44% from the three-point line. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.